Karen spray-painted a library wall in Juneau. Now she's scrubbing it as part of her sentence. The library in Juneau stood as a quiet sanctuary, its brick walls holding stories of a small coastal town. That was until Karen, a woman known for her sharp tongue and unyielding opinions, decided it was her canvas. One foggy night, armed with cans of neon spray paint, she scrawled her manifesto across the library's east wall. Bold, jagged letters screaming about censorship, freedom, and her disdain for woke books. By morning, the town was ablaze with outrage. The library, a haven for kids and elders alike, was defaced, and Karen's name was on everyone's lips. Emma, the young librarian, felt the vandalism like a personal wound. She'd poured her heart into that library, curating books that opened minds in a town often stuck in its ways. Standing before the garish graffiti, her hands trembled not just with anger but with betrayal. Karen wasn't just a stranger. She was Emma's neighbor, someone who'd once brought her casseroles during tough times. The sting of that memory fueled Emma's resolve. She reported Karen to the police, her voice cracking as she described the neon scars on her beloved library. Karen, however, was unapologetic. At the police station, she leaned back in her chair, her eyes glinting with defiance. "I was making a point," she said to Officer Daniels, a grizzled veteran who'd seen Juneau's quirks but never quite this. "Those books are poisoning minds. Someone had to stand up." Daniels, tired of mediating small-town feuds, sighed. Karen's point had cost the town thousands in damages and stirred a firestorm. The judge's ruling was swift. 200 hours of community service, starting with scrubbing her own vandalism off the library wall. The first day of Karen's sentence was a spectacle. A crowd gathered, some with phones recording, others whispering. Emma stood at the library's entrance, arms crossed, watching Karen dip a scrub brush into soapy water. The neon paint resisted, as stubborn as its creator. Karen's face was a mask of resentment, her jaw tight as she scrubbed under the midday sun. "This is censorship," she shouted, her voice echoing across the lot. "You're silencing me." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others scoffing. Emma's heart raced. She wanted to scream back, to ask why Karen thought her freedom trumped everyone else's sanctuary. Then came the twist. Old Man Tucker, a reclusive fisherman who rarely left his boat, shuffled into the crowd. Known for his silence, he carried a tattered book of children's story about whales, one he'd read to his late daughter. He held it up, his voice shaky but firm. "This library saved me when I lost her," he said, eyes locked on Karen. "Your paint don't speak for me." The crowd fell silent. Tucker's words hit like a wave, shifting the air. Even Karen paused, her brush dripping, as if seeing her actions through someone else's pain for the first time. The days dragged on and the wall slowly cleared. Karen's defiance waned, replaced by exhaustion. Emma, watching daily, felt her anger soften not into forgiveness, but into something heavier. She saw Karen's loneliness, the way her hands shook not just from scrubbing but from the weight of being Juneau's pariah. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Emma approached Karen. "Why the library?" she asked, her voice softer now. Karen didn't look up. "I thought I was right," she muttered. "I thought I was saving people." Emma nodded, unsure if she pitied or despised her. The final day of Karen's sentence drew a smaller crowd. The wall was nearly clean, but the town's wounds weren't. Karen dropped her brush, her hands raw and blistered. She looked at Emma, then at the library, and walked away without a word. The crowd dispersed, leaving Emma alone with the wall. It was clean, but it felt hollow. The library was whole again. Yet the town was fractured, split between those who saw Karen as a rebel and those who saw her as a vandal. That night, Emma found a note slipped under the library door. It was from Tucker, written in his shaky scrawl. "Keep the books alive. They're all some of us got." She clutched it, tears welling. Karen's act had sparked a fire, but it also reminded Juneau why the library mattered. It wasn't just walls or books, it was the stories that held them together, the ones that outlasted paint and pride. The town never forgot. Karen moved away, her name a cautionary tale. Emma kept the library open, adding Tucker's book to a display for others to find solace in. But the question lingered, heavy as the Alaskan fog. Was Karen a villain for her defiance? Or was the town complicit for ignoring her cries until they became vandalism? What do you think? Where does justice lie when passion clashes with community?